Okay, thank you. Nice thing, everybody. How are you? Last time we started talking, we gave the introduction to family purity. We were talking about the purpose of mitzvot and the reason of mitzvot, right? We would like to continue on talking today about, so what is tum'ah, what is kedusha, what is impurity, what are these things? Let's start with a story that's written in Talmud Masechet Ta'anit. There was this girl that was walking, dressed nicely, in a lonely place, deserted place, and she was very, very thirsty. She was looking for water, and then she fell into a very, very deep pit. Okay?
Yeah.
She started crying for help, 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 help. Nobody's there, nobody's listening to her. After crying out for I don't know how long time, somebody passed by, a young lad, and she's begging him and asking him, please, please, take me out, take me out. And he pulled her out. He pulled her out, he saw a beautiful girl. And right away, he wanted to be with her. And she's like, are you Jewish? He said, yes. You know, as a Jew, if you're Jewish, she tells him, how Hashem selected the Jews, as a holy nation, as his nation. How can you act like an animal, and be with me right away? Let's wait. Let's go to my parents' house. I'm sure they will be glad to see you, and I'll tell them that you saved my life. We'll get engaged like a normal Jewish couple. We'll get married with chuppah and kiddushin. He said, okay, but we need witnesses. I mean, let's make a brit. Let's make a covenant. Let's make an agreement together that once we're going to get to our cities, to our towns, you will wait for me. I'll wait for you. Okay, so they made an agreement, and who would be these witnesses? Next to them passed this rat. And the girl said, the rat and the pit that I fell into will be our witnesses. He said, okay, fine. And they split and left to their own houses. The girl remembered that agreement that they did. She never wanted to get married to anybody that her parents proposed, or some other people come to see her. In order to avoid all kind of problems, she started to make herself like she's crazy. She acts out like she's insane. And so people don't want to come close to her. But the guy forgot. And he got married with another girl. And she got pregnant. And she had a baby boy. And one time, this baby boy, when he was 2 years old or something, he fell into a pit and died, Lolena. And of course she was sad, and they were sad, and after a while again she got pregnant. And this time, Lalenu, a rat attacked this little boy and choked him.
Wow.
And he died too. And she's coming to her husband and she says, what is this? Why our kids are dying in this kind of a weird situation? A pit and a rat. This all of a sudden clicked into him. And you remember something together, a pit and a rat together. And he said, oh, you know something? Once I had this incident, and he told her what happened. And she's like, oh, if that exactly what happened, we should really split, and I'm not your basher, I'm not for you, you're not for me. You should go and find this girl and marry her. So they divorced, and he went to her town, he found her, she acted like crazy, she didn't know who he was. And then when he revealed to her, that they met and what happened and everything, she all of a sudden became normal. She agreed, of course, she was waiting for him all this time. They married, they had kids, boys, girls, and everything was okay.
Wow.
Why do I start with this story? The girl was asking him, let's first get married like Jewish people. In Hebrew, marriage is kiddushin. What is kiddushin? What is kedusha? What is kodesh? Holiness. What is kiddushin? What does it mean? When a guy says, הרי את מקודשת לי, כדת משה וישראל, what exactly he means? מקודשת.
You only for me, you holy for me.
Separated from everybody else, belong to me. All the others are forbidden to me. Only you are permitted to me. So kiddushin means like we have in Shabbat we say kiddush, and then Motzei Shabbat we say havdalah, which is the same kind of a thing. What is havdalah?
Separate.
Right, separate Shabbat from Yom Chol, from other days, right? So this is kedusha, holiness. See, let's take for example the animals. The animals, they live in this world, okay? Animals, they act instinctively. They do whatever they want. They're not asking if it's allowed, if it's not allowed, if it's permissible, if it's appropriate, or whatever. And they don't have the freedom of choice. This is an animal, right? Usually when you say it's animalistic, it's like it's a very, very low kind of an act, okay? On the other side, if we take, let's say, for example, the angels. The angels for us looks like, oh, they're very holy. They're next to the throne of Hashem. They're angels, right? But if you think about this, angels are not so great too. You know why? Because they also don't have the freedom of choice. Every angel has a mission. And he must obey and do his mission. If he doesn't do his mission, you know what happens? He's get burned.
Oh.
That's it. He cannot decide if I want to do it or I don't want to do it. A human being is the only creature that has the freedom of choice. He can decide whether to do it or not. If he wants to, at this moment, respect his parent or he doesn't. If he wants to be nice to his wife. If she wants to be nice to her husband. It's our choice every day. And the mitzvot that we're doing elevate us. Every time we make a mitzvah, what do you say? Asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, whatever, right? So the mitzvot elevate us, make us higher, makes us so much special. The mitzvot. I want to tell you a story. And any of us can do such a great heroic thing because it's up to us. Was this lady in Russia, okay? She was about to get married. She was a bride. And she was dreaming all her life to have this beautiful gown for her wedding. She was thinking so much how to design it and where to put her these special stones, Swarovski or whatever stones that they put on the dress, and how and she was thinking all the details. Women are into details and everything. And then as it gets closer to the wedding, somebody came to her father and told her, that there's a mikveh in our town is not working. There's no mikveh. Okay, and yes, not so many Jews were holding of this mitzvah. Communism time was very, very hard to keep this law of purity, and so there's no mikveh. So what should she do? Yes, they had the money and they had the ability to go and, let's say, take an airplane and dip in another town, in another mikveh, and come back. But what about other people that lived in this town? And she was thinking and thinking and thinking. She was really planning to make a gorgeous gown. What if she will give up this dream of hers and not buy this, not hire seamstress and buy all those details that she wanted to add and this special material that she wanted to add and whatever, and donate it to that mikveh so that they were, because of renovation, they closed it a while ago, and that's how it stayed. Now that they will be able to open it, they will be able to put again the rainy water in there. Until she gets married, it's going to be enough time for the rainy water to be filled and all the renovation and everything. And she decided that she went for it. This is a mitzvah of, you can call it Misrut Nefesh, that elevated her, made her feel so good about herself because she helped out other people. She wasn't thinking only about herself. This is a choice that only human being can do. And an angel cannot decide of such a thing, and definitely not an animal. Okay? This is the difference between us and all the other creatures in the world. So this kiddushin, or this kodesh or kedusha, is the ability to differentiate between the good and the bad, okay? Between what's allowed and what's not allowed. For example, let's say eating. Is eating good thing to do or bad thing to do?
Only physically.
Huh?
Only physically.
Very physical, right?
Absolutely.
All animals eat, but we cannot say that eating is not
Exactly.
good. If a person cannot hold himself, is only into desires, how to eat this delicacy stuff, always the best restaurants, always the most expensive meats and whatever. So he has this desire of food. But if he waits like every other Jew, we have so much restrictions on our eating. First of all, shchita. You cannot eat this animal right away. You have to slaughter it. You find this rabbi. You have to wait until he finishes it all. And after slaughtering, he has to check the animal if it's all okay. Then soak and salt this half an hour, and then 1 hour, and then only you start preparing. And then the dichya that you used to clean, take all the veins and all this. It takes forever to clean, to prepare this meat for food. Right? Then we have ma'asrot. You cannot really eat everything. In the time of the Holy Temple, we used to give 10th to the Kohanim.
Yeah.
And then you need to send it Tilat Yadayim. You have to say the brachot. You have so much delays until you really eat to work on your evil inclination. So we can elevate ourselves by eating. Yeah. When we know that we're eating for a mitzvah to make our neshama to feel, and so this is the mitzvot that elevate us. Okay, now in Sefer Vayikra it says, "Ve'el isha benidat tumata lo tikrav." Whenever the woman is nida means that she got her period, her husband is not allowed to come close to her. Let's try to explain. In the time of the Holy Temple, okay, the laws of purity and impurity were very, very strict. I want to show you something, I'll come to it in a second. The source of impurity is death. If somebody is exposed to a dead spirit, if somebody goes to a funeral, if somebody went to the cemetery, if somebody touches a dead person, if lo aleinu, an old grandfather or grandmother in the house passed away and we're in the same house, under the same roof, okay, people who are in the same presence of this dead person, they all become impure. Tameh, murdo, we say it in Bukhari. Okay, murdo.
Right.
This is not, God forbid, that you're not clean physically. It's a spiritually contamination. The absence of life is tum'ah. Absence of life. So, if somebody also, let's say, touches a dead animal, impurity. A woman that, let's say, was pregnant, was carrying the baby 9 months in her stomach, and is in labor now, after the delivery, after the baby comes out of her body, she becomes nida. Why? Because there was this live thing in her body that left her. Once it left her,
And one thing, when I was pregnant, and it was like impure this house, and one of our family died, and I didn't know that we're not allowed to go in this when I was pregnant with the third baby, and I was like 1 month, and I went, and it's like after 1 week, baby is died.
Oh wow.
Okay,
Okay, let me just give you explain you something. These laws of purity and impurity, they were very strict in the time of the Bet HaMikdash. When we used to have the Holy Temple, these laws were very strict. Meaning, when somebody is exposed to death, okay, or a woman that gets a period once a month, when she gets a period once a month, it means that she was supposed to, the egg inside it was supposed to get fertilized, but didn't get fertilized, and it comes out of her body. So this is the blood that shows that there's a small kind of a death inside her, right?
Yeah.
And because this death is inside her, she becomes impure. So nida, and people that touch dead people or were in presence of dead people and all this, they become impure, they become tameh. Now, they are not allowed to be in touch with other people in the time of the Holy Temple because it contagious, this tumah. If I'm tameh and I'm touching her, she can become tameh as well. And if she goes and touch her children, and this is how it spreads all over. We don't want this to spread all over. So in the time of the Holy Temple, today it's not like that. A person that went, let's say, to a cemetery, he has to now isolate himself from people. He lives on his own, he drinks, he sleeps on his own. They used to have kind of little huts next to the house, and they would be on their own for 7 days. In between, they would wash their body and wash their clothing and dip in the mikveh, and only then, after 7 days, after going to the mikveh, they could come among people. But 3 times a year, people used to go to the Holy Temple. The Holy Temple is here, it didn't come out. Okay? People used to come to the Holy Temple beside Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and any other time that they had to come and bring a sacrifice and whatever the reason that they had to go to the Holy Temple. And people, when they come to the Holy Temple, what does it mean Holy Temple? People that are impure cannot enter the Holy Temple, are not allowed to enter the Holy Temple.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is when these laws were very strict. They cannot go there until this process of the purifying with the ashes of the red cow. A red cow was a cow with a it wasn't red like we know today, it was brown close to red, let's put it this way. And very rare animal that they wouldn't have it very often. In all these years that we used to have the Holy Temple, we used to have 2 Holy Temples plus the temporary Mishkan and all the time in between, they found 9 red cows. We're waiting, Be'ezrat Hashem, for the 10th one. The Mashiach himself is going to make Efer Para Aduma. Hopefully, this is when people will be able to get to the Holy Temple. Nowadays, we are all Tme'ei Metim. We're all people that were exposed in some point of our life to impurity. Either we went to a cemetery or we touched this or whatever, right? So we are not all of us 100% kosher, pure to go to the Holy Temple.
So when we go to a cemetery or when we go to funeral.
So today,
what is all this washing hands?
Right.
What's the point?
We're just washing hands like you wash in the morning when you get up.
Okay.
And that's for that. For this it's good. But to go to the Holy Temple, we need the ashes of the red cow, which we don't have.
Okay.
This is the reason people till today are not allowed to go to Har HaBayit, where the Holy Temple used to be. We're not allowed to get close there. There's the rabbis, they show till when people are allowed to go and so, but we cannot go there, basically. So, wait, now we can go where? To Har HaBayit. Har HaBayit is where today, let's say, is the mosque of the Muslims over there.
But I think that's the main reason people don't go there.
Huh?
Because it's not safe. Believe me, if it would be safe, people would go in.
There were some times that it was safe and still it's not allowed to go there. A lot of people are very curious to go there. Recently some people come say that nowadays it's okay, whatever, but the rabbis do not allow to go there.
Wait, I don't understand.
The
What?
mask Jerusalemi.
Yes.
What about the mask?
The mask, they build it
Right on top.
on top,
Of the Kodesh Kodeshim.
close to Kodesh Kodesh. On top where the your holy temple used to be. Let's put it this way.
We have the kotel.
We have the kotel. The kotel surrounds, used to surround the holy temple. The kotel Amaravi, with the western wall, is the closest place to where Kodesh Kodeshim used to be. That's why it's called. It's so holy because it used to be, kind of behind the Kodesh HaKodeshim.
But can we go to the kotel?
No.
Of course, of course. With
But
a
we-
period, you're allowed to go to the kotel.
But
Not
we still have a foundation on the bottom, all this kotel.
yeah, whatever you see, the kotel is only the highest part of the kotel. There's so much underneath, and when you go today to the tunnels, you can see all the way. We see just one part of the kotel. You can see all the way today. It's beautiful to see old antique stones, huge stones. The way that they construct it, the way that they build it, it's unbelievable. The way that they did that. So, the Or HaChaim, he explains something interesting about purity and impurity. And listen to this. A Jewish person that Lo Alenu passed away, okay? So, whoever is in the presence of this dead person, he become impure, he become tameh, he become muldo, okay? And they say, but if let's say non-Jew dies, okay, whoever is in presence with his non-Jew, they don't become tameh. Why? How come?
Different level of neshama.
Because they're more spiritual, more spiritual.
They're not
So-
Kodesh.
So they explain it.
They're not kosher.
They explain it. Chazal say, בבבא מציעא, they say, אין טומאה אלא במקום שיש קדושה. Wherever there is holiness, there could be טומאה there. Whenever there is no holiness, טומאה cannot be there. What does it mean? The Chafetz Chaim explains that, for example, let's say an object has some kind of livelihood inside there? No, right? So this kind of a thing, let's say I have a stone, which is also an object, doesn't move, doesn't leave, nothing, a stone. And by the time it fell apart, let's say this stone. So what do we see out of it? What comes out? So we have all kind of crumbs of sand and whatever this stone is made from. Not a big deal, right? Something higher than a stone. Let's say I have a flower. A flower is already something that grows, okay? What happens when the flower rots? Smells not so good, right? Let's say something more than that, higher than that. An animal already, a dog, let's say, can run, can go, can do so much, right? There is some kind of something inside him, and when he dies, God forbid, when he dies, what happens? It smells very bad. A human being can think, can run, can do, can invent, can do so much, right? But when he dies, it stinks, Lo Alenu, right? So now a Jewish person is above all this. A Jewish person is like this thing, this case that holds the Sefer Torah, our neshama inside, and the body is like the case that holds the Sefer Torah. Okay, and so let's another explain Mamshich, the Or HaChaim explains like that. Let's say a man has two utensils. In one he had honey, and in one he had garbage. And he empties these utensils. The one from honey he empties and he puts it outside the house, and the one that garbage was inside he empties and he puts it outside the house. What happens now? Empty jar or can or utensils of honey, and empty jar, utensil, whatever, of garbage. What kind of bugs, what kind of flies are coming? What happens when you have, even in the house you have a honey? how much bugs are coming towards it, and ants, and
Destroy too.
right? But where would they go more? To the one with the honey or with the one with the garbage? No,
The
to the one with the honey they would go more.
Because it's food.
Because
It's sticky, it's sweet.
okay, the more it contained before, because it's so much higher than this garbage that was there before, the more tum'ah gets into there. And when somebody that, let's say, a Gentile passes away and not a Jew passes away, okay, so where the tum'ah would go after this neshama leaves the body, more to the Jewish neshama it will go, to the Jewish body it will go. Because Jewish neshama is so much, it's different, okay? This is why when somebody, when death, okay, takes the tum'ah,
Fast.
okay? And then we said also that the absence of life, okay, this is when tum'ah is getting there. This is usually how it goes. Okay. Let's explain now what happens to the woman once a month when she gets a period. You all know it's not new, and I explained it so many times. This is the woman's lower part of the stomach, okay? And we know that once a month, okay, the one of her eggs, okay, ripens in one of her ovaries. It continues here this way, and basically, if the egg is not the egg is supposed to get fertilized in the ovaries. Whether it fertilizes or not, the uterus doesn't know it. It gets ready. How it gets ready, the uterus? The lining that inside the uterus starts to get thicker. So that if the egg that's fertilized is going to get inside this womb, okay, it's going to be fertilized, the lining will be able to protect it. Here's why you see that the lining here is so much thicker than in the first picture, to be able to protect it. But let's say this egg was not fertilized, so as it gets into the uterus, the egg pops, and also the lining. The lining they were full of blood to protect it, like a balloon, right? And now that there's nothing there, it pops and it sheds all the blood that was containing inside. So for about 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 days, whatever it is, the blood that the woman experiences, okay, in the period, this is the blood from her uterus, from the inside of it, the lining, the remainders of the egg, and all this, right? This is called tumah, because it was a live thing that was supposed to a baby was supposed to come out, but nothing happened basically. When such a thing happens, okay, it's like an open wound inside the woman's body. Naturally, if you think about that, if I have an open wound anywhere, let's say even in my finger, I don't want to scratch it too much and touch it too much and dig inside too much, because it can get infected, right? It's not healthy. Just let it heal. Let it heal, and it's going to get healed by itself. So if I had one little drop from a paper cut, okay, or something, so it will take some time to heal. Sometimes we think in a couple of days it's going to get healed. No, because I can always open it, in these couple of days, and it can start shed again and start bleeding again, and you just let it heal. You'll be amazed to see that this little cut takes fully 7 days to heal.
No way. On the finger?
Yes. Fully 7. On the 5th day you have some kind of a scab. On the 6th day it's almost not seen anymore, and on the 7th day it's healed. You have a new skin over it, and as much as you try not to scratch it, nothing is going on because it's healed already.
And skin has 7 layers,
And right. And this is when you have only one little drop maybe that came out from there. But when the woman have 5 days of a heavy bleeding, and so the minute that it stops, it's not, you don't see the source of the blood, you just see as it comes out. The minute that it stops, it doesn't mean that it's healed. The uterus, it takes time for the uterus to heal. Every day, as all this finishes, every day now, more cells needs to be built in, and more cells, and the lining needs to be built in, and everything. It takes 7 days for the uterus to rebuild itself, to become a brand new uterus again.
After it done bleeding?
After done
Or including?
Now, after all finished, bleeding have finished, it takes 7 days for the uterus to build itself and become a brand new uterus. A brand new uterus, and then it starts a new cycle. Another tiny little egg ripens in one of the ovaries, and this is how it goes once a month all the time. You know, it's a process. It takes 30 days, around a month, you know, to. So we know that why does woman have it? Why not man? Why woman has to go through this every time?
Maybe the good one.
We're stronger.
Huh?
We're stronger than that. Of course.
Huh?
Of course.
Because we're closer to
A
God.
curse. Okay, this was the first, the curse that Chava got. You know, she made Adam eat from the tree, from the fruit that was in the tree.
How did she
So-
make him eat it? She didn't put it in his mouth.
She made him. She started to describe how to him. She tasted it first, and she was afraid to be punished on her own. So she made him eat from that tree. She tries to describe that it's so tasty, it's so special that he has to try it. מה זה חווה? חווה is to experience, to לחוות in Hebrew. Not like the Christian says, Chava is evil or she's evil and then she made him. No, not because she's evil. Because she likes to experience stuff. And so she describes to him how important it will be for him to taste it.
So
and then, of
basically
course,
Hashem made her like this.
and Hashem made her like
She
this,
had a
but
choice.
he didn't make her sin. He didn't want her
Yeah,
to sin.
that's right.
The problem, some say that the problem that she sinned was because Hashem gave this order to Adam not to eat from that tree, not to Chava. She just heard that she's not allowed to. The snake came to her that don't even touch, and this Hashem never said. And then he, made her touch the tree, and she saw that nothing happened. She didn't die. He said, "Oh, you see, you didn't die, so nothing's going to happen. You're going to eat from this too." So she started eating from that, and Hashem punished them. Punish for Adam would be, and once B'ezrat Hashem we're going to speak about these punishments. Now you'll have to sweat for you. And now, until now, all the food was available to you. It wasn't so hard for you to get it. But now, if you want to provide, you'll have to sweat for your food, right? The punishment of Chava would be to get this period once a month. What is this period? And be'etzev tildi banim. It's going to be hard for you to have children. So, when we learn about, when we make challah, we learn the laws of women, we know that woman is obligated on 3 main mitzvot. Challah, nida,
Candle.
and lighting candles for Shabbat. Challah, because
Take truma.
because Adam HaRishon, he was like Gemar Chalato Shalom. It was like perfection of the world, and she makes a damage in it. This is why she has to take a piece of the challah, and so on and so on. Nida, because she shed the blood of Adam HaRishon. He was supposed to live forever, eternity life, and because of her, there's death in the world. They live, limited life until 120 or whatever. And Hadlakat Ner, lighting candles, because she kibta, she turned off his candle, his light. Ner Hashem, Nishmat Adam. If somebody dies, we put a candle, right? We put Ner Neshama. She turned off his light. She, again, brought death to the world. And so this is why she lights candles. So, Chala, Nida, and Hadlakat Ner. And think about this. It is such important mitzvah only for women. Challah, if she cannot do challah, let's say she buys in the store and over there they do the challah, so fine, it's okay, she doesn't have to do. Or if her husband makes the challah, if her grandmother, her mother-in-law, her sister, her daughter, it doesn't matter. Everybody can make challah, not only her. Hadlakat Ner usually is the woman's obligation. Or if she went to the hospital to give birth, or she's not home for some reason, so her husband lights the candle. It's not. Okay, mikvah is only woman. Nobody else can replace her, right? So this is a special mitzvah for a woman. And as I tried to say last time, see how beautiful it is. The mitzvah of family purity, we do it not because we understand it or we don't understand. Last time I was trying to say that the mitzvot, some make sense, some don't make sense. Even small little mitzvah can have a very big impact, and we don't know what's important, what's not important. See how beautiful it says in our Talmud. There was this non-Jew that lived in Ashkelon, and his name was Dama ben Netina. This Dama ben Netina had a special stone. He was dealing with precious stones by the name Yashve. Yashve was the stone that they had to put in the Choshen of the Kohen HaGadol. Yashve was of Shevet Binyamin, the last Shevet. His stone was Shevet, that Evan that's called Yashve. This stone once fell from the Choshen of the Kohen HaGadol, and they were trying to look for this Choshen, for this stone. They heard that this guy that lives in Ashkelon, Dama ben Netina, he has this stone. They would pay any amount for this stone. They come to him, they make negotiation, they say, Shishim ribo, meaning 60,000, I don't know, something that 600,000 gold coins or whatever that they would pay for this stone only, and they agreed. Now he wants to go to take it from the special box that he had. He saw that his father locked this box, and he went to sleep, and this is under his pillow. So he didn't want to wake him up for kibud orim, and he told the rabbis, I'm sorry, you'll have to go home. I cannot wake up my father. The rabbis were impressed. They went home. What could they do? Hashem blessed him. How did Hashem give him a blessing? The next year, in his animals, a red cow was born. You know how much money millions of dollars they would pay for it, the rabbis, for a red cow. It was so rare. They would pay any amount. You tell them $10 million, you tell them $100 million, they will pay for it, because it was very rare. So Hashem paid him, and now they come to him and they say, whatever you say, we know that it's very expensive.